Kia ora, Cameron. Ko hiraki mata te maunga, ko te moana nui o toi te moana, ko kāwa rawa ko matarehe, rātai ko te tapairu ngā marae, ko Ngāti Rewha Ngāti Wai ki Aotea, rawa ko Ngāti Kahungunu ngā hapu, ko Makere au, kei Aotea e noho ana me tōku tāne me o ki tamariki hoki. Kia ora, I'm Makere. I'm the project lead for To Mai Taonga, which is a mana whenua-led conservation project on Aotea Great Barrier Island. And I just want to thank you on behalf of our project for inviting Hiku and I to speak with you today about the mahi that we're doing. So, To Mai Taonga emerged as Ngāti Rewha Ngāti Wai ki Aotea. We're reorganising ourselves as a hapu to re-engage in treaty discussions with the Crown and to have a voice in matters of ancestral importance to our whānau. To Mai Taonga began as a community conservation project on Aotea that sought mana whenua endorsement and support. What our whānau asked our Hapu Trust to do instead was to seek the support of the community for us to lead the work, giving effect to our right to self-determination on Aotea as mana whenua, and taking advantage of this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to truly lead kaiao restoration on our whenua in a way that has been denied us for generations. Because with overwhelming community support, so there was overwhelming community support for our hapu to lead this work, and with the mana whenua desire to make a way for taonga species to thrive once again here, the project became rooted in te ao Māori and sought the blessing and guidance of our kaumātua here on the island, and resisted the urge to be buffeted or to come loose from our anchoring in tikanga by the expectations of funders and community conservation frenzy, resisting the urge to rush what needed to be done with great care. The project itself is ambitious. We're running concurrent programs where, one, we're looking to eradicate feral cats from all of Aotea using an intensive trapping network that will roll down Aotea from the north to the south over a period of around 10 years. The other program that we are running is a pathway to rat eradication. It's not feasible to eradicate rats from Aotea at this time with current tools available. So what we are doing is running a series of rat eradication trials, trialing different methods on the smaller outer islands on Aotea, which knowledge is intended to feed back into the work on main Aotea and also back into the predator-free kaupapa. Our kaumātua carefully considered how an eradication project could be rolled out across a landscape that is ancestral papakainga and is waihi tapu. How to restore the mauri of the ngahere without trespassing the wairua of these places. And what they came back to the project with was a recommendation that we engage a matakite whenua tapu. Loosely translated, that's a waihi tapu advisor, in order to bring practical guidance in the field. And specifically, they recommended that Hiku Davis, who is online here with me today, fill that role. And so I'd like to turn the time over to Hiku to talk with you about how tikanga is embedded in the project through the role that he has.
Tēnā koutou katoa, ko here ki mata toku maunga, ko matara toku awa, ko moana o tui toku moana, ko mahu ki te rangi toku waka, ko Ngāti Rewha Ngāti Wai ki Aotea toku hapu, ko whakaruru hau rawa ko rehoa toku marae, ko matarehe toku kāinga, ko Hiku Pitakino Davis toku ingoa, no Aotea hau, no reira tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. Kia ora everyone, my name is Hiku Davis and I work here in Aotea with the To Mai Taonga project as the waihi tapu advisor. And the way I do this is I physically walk the pest management lines to check for wahitapu sites along these lines so we could avoid them. Since the project started, we've come across quite a few sites, PAR sites, perimeter pit storage areas, camping sites, and yeah, these sort of sites. Yeah, and that's what I do pretty much.
Kia ora, sorry, I've just brought up a map on your screen here. I hope that that's showing. And this is just a visual of Aotea, split up into color-coded zones. And so these little blue islands here are, some of them are Māori land, others are Māori customary land. So it's all Māori land really. That's where the rat eradication trials are being carried out. And then the feral cat program on main Aotea is being carried out in zones. Just in here is Māori land, all through here is Māori customary land. And depending on who you talk to, this is all Māori customary land. And so just to give you a visual of Aotea and the way that the project is looking practically at rolling out two concurrent, an eradication program and a pathway to eradication. This pathway to eradication places Aotea to become a biodiversity arc for Aotea Great Barrier Island in the next 10 to 20 years. And the opportunity for mana whenua to lead this work gives effect to our right to be self-determined in Aotearoa, to lead entire restoration, to anchor the project in tikanga, which will enable us to achieve the long-term vision of Ngāti Rehua Ngāti Wāki Aotea, which is to have a thriving people who are at one with a thriving taiao. And I'd like to open the floor up for anyone to ask any questions.
Kia ora koroa, e mihi ana ki a koroa. I just wanted to take a moment to note that, I think I can really feel the mana that you both bring to this work, and I just really want to acknowledge you both for taking the time to share your experience and your mātauranga with the collective today. If it's okay, I might start the questions off just because, there are so many questions that I have about the mechanics of this kind of work, Hiku, and but equally, I think, just wanting to kind of be focused on the collective. I heard you both speak to kind of not needing to rush things, and so I guess my question is do you have any principles or words of wisdom for community groups and projects to really consider when engaging in this kind of work and working with mana whenua? So are there kind of principles that you think are really critical ingredients to this kind of work that you want to kind of elevate and make sure that those listening in can take account of? Kia ora.
Kia ora. Well, mana whenua-led conservation and indeed community-led conservation is anchored in being self-determined. And so the project, a key tenet of the project and a key principle that the project has operated under since the beginning is that the project doesn't rush ahead with what we think needs to be done without going back, making sure, checking, without involving our kaumātua and our whānau in the planning stages right from the beginning, without taking their concerns seriously and making sure that they have all the information that they need to make informed decisions and provide sound guidance. And so involving our people. We've moved away from the idea and the term bringing people along, which is sort of a communications and engagement approach. What we want to do is follow their lead, and we're working really hard to figure out how to do that. A lot of us come from backgrounds, myself included, where I've worked very much in the Pākehā world, and coming back home, I've been able to prick my ears and hear those telltale signs that we are bringing along rather than following a lead. And we have come a long way learning how to follow a lead and enable mana whenua to be able to take a leading role. It's not easy for them, and we need to make sure that we make it as doable as possible. It's also important to make it implicit, make it absolutely clear to them that they are leading and that it is not a tokenistic leadership, and that it's important for them to know that, otherwise they are just not going to volunteer their time to put their heart and soul into something that's important to them when they think that their input isn't actually being taken seriously. Kia ora. So allowing our whānau to lead rather than bringing them along is a core tenet of the project.
Yeah, I think it's just really powerful to hear that really deep mātauranga in terms of what might seem on the surface like a subtle difference, but actually that having a real significant, long-term impact in terms of the resilience of the kaupapa and what it can achieve in the long run. Kia ora.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are there any other questions or comments in the across the participants today?
All right. Steve Henderson, North Regional Council, you're running fire track to catch a possum. We've got one available if you want to come and grab one.
No, that's all good. One of the things that I will do is just really encourage the collective to reach out, and if you have any other questions or comments, I want to make sure that we reach out to those speakers and just continue this conversation, because I think one of the things that I want to make sure of is that this is a longer term conversation that doesn't just end at 2:30 today, that it's something that we can continue doing and learning from each other. So yeah, I just want to again really acknowledge you both for coming today. Again, it's one of those things that, this isn't necessarily a priority for you guys. You've got mahi on the ground to do. So I just really want to acknowledge you both for coming and sharing your mātauranga and your experiences with the collective today. So e mihi ana ki a kōrua. Kia ora.
Kia ora, Cameron. Cameron Ripley raised her hand.
Oh, kia ora, Ripley.
No.
Kia ora. I was just having trouble getting my system up and running. I was just going to ask, I know this kind of incorporating mātauranga Māori and landscape projects and genuinely honouring te tiriti through our mahi is quite a challenge for a lot of people. Do you have any kind of tips on how some of these projects could get some support in that space? Or
Number one is to engage the iwi and hapua in your rohe, which I know you already know, Ripley, and I'm assuming that's something that's an avenue you've probably already tried tapping. You can also reach out. I would encourage you to reach out to others who are already doing it and have good relationships going. Reach out to mana whenua-led programs, because it's actually also difficult for us to embody te tiriti and the work that we're doing. It's hard for everybody. It's a challenge for everybody. You're more than welcome to get a hold of us with specific issues that you might be having anytime.
cool. No, that's great. Thanks, Makere.
Is there anybody else that's that has thought about or is struggling with the idea of working in and around wāhi tapu and what you in the work that you're doing? Well, blimmin' awesome. That's fantastic.
I think it's a really interesting concept, Makere, though, because I must be honest, it's a relatively new concept for me in terms of what that means and what that could look like. So I think, that was what really sparked my interest when I heard that kōrero you had with the RNZ podcast, was that this was a real kind of tangible way of kind of embodying these concepts. And so I think from my perspective, you guys are really leaders in this space. So yeah, I think watch the space, and I think we're definitely going to have more people that are really keen to learn from you moving forward, and understand what that could look like in their own kind of individual rohe.
Ka pai. Well, anybody that's on this call or watching a recording, you're welcome to reach out to us via the Mai Taonga website, and we're more than happy to help alleviate any kind of burden that you may be having. And because we definitely have our fair share of challenges, and being able to unite and help each other out is absolutely essential to these really ambitious programs that we're trying to run. So I want to thank you for your time today. Kia ora.